What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolve video. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that picture of a cat yesterday, but today we're going to be doing the Swordcraft reveals, and I'm very excited to see what they have in set 6 for Swordcraft. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first card. We have Adept Thief, so it's a 2-cost 3/2, has Fanfare ability, so when it comes in, you can choose one of the following. You can either 1, put the top card of the enemy deck to the graveyard, or 2, draw a card and then discard a card. Yeah, I'm loving these cards with multiple abilities. Now we have another card that can help mill your opponent, and 2, we can put this card in every Swordcraft deck if we need to filter through our deck. Alrighty, next up we have Breakneck Draw, so it's a 2-cost spell card, and you can engage a Swordcraft follower on the field, and then you choose a follower on the field and destroy it. So it's finally nice to finally be getting some spell cards that are going to be able to just get rid of followers on the field, not, hey, this card does X amount of damage. Now we have a straight up spell card that just straight up destroys a card. Alrighty, next up we have Courtly Dance, so it's a 6-cost spell card. You look at the top 5 cards of your deck. From among them, you put any number of Swordcraft followers with an original cost of 3 or less, totaling up to original cost of 7 or less, onto the field, and then put the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. So it looks like you're going to be playing a huge number game, but if you have the right amount of followers coming into play, you're going to have a lot of fanfares going off. And another thing to take into account for Swordcraft is we actually need cards like this in Swordcraft, because when we get into the late game and maybe we've done our Leonidas and stuff like that, our hand size is actually kind of struggling, because usually whenever we draw a card, it's usually a 1-for-1. I put a card on the field just to get another card onto my hand or onto the field, and usually that doesn't really generate a very good hand size. But with Courtly Dance, we can get into the late game, feel a little bit better, start looking at the top 5 from the top of our decks, hopefully getting some fanfare abilities that could really help us, or search for some evolve targets if we have the play points, and really generate some good value. Alrighty, next up we have Grand Acquisition, so it's a 1-cost quick spell, and for 1 quick, put the top 3 cards of your enemy deck to their graveyard. So it seems like we're getting a lot of support for the Thief deck, and I know the Servant or the Thief of Usurpation, whichever the 1-cost is, I can't think of the name right now, this really benefits to him, because if you play him on 1-8, he doesn't get interacted with, and then you play this on the next turn, he's going to get a huge stat line to be swinging the very next turn, or it also just really speeds up the Thief deck to just go ahead and get 10 cards into your opponent's cemetery. Alright, so next up we have a Hero of Iniquity, so it's a 7-cost 6/10, you can evolve him for 1, he has Rush and Aura, and he can't be destroyed or banished by effects. Can be destroyed by damage though. So a huge card for 6 and 10, I can only imagine if Leonidas' Resolve was on the field and he gets that huge stat line, he's going to be a very hard tank to get through. So let's go ahead and figure out what his evolve looks like. And then we have Hero Evolve, so he turns into a 7/11, he still has Aura, can't be destroyed or banished by effects, and his on-evolve skill is you choose a follower from the enemy field, destroy it, and if its original cost is 6 or more, banish it instead. So nice effect for the on-evolve, because when we get later into the game and then we see opponents' cards that are like 7 or more, I'm looking at Leonidas that has like Last Words effect, and those Last Words effect of being, just moved in title, so people are running out of options. They're like, okay, well this got banished, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do next. Alright, and we have our first legendary. We have Kagemitsu Matchless Blade. He's a 1-cost 1/1. He has Rush, and when he comes into play, this card gets +X/+X. X equal to the number of face-up evolve followers in your evolve deck. And if X is equal to 3 or more, you gain Assail. And if X is equal to 7 or more, you gain Strike. Restand this card. This ability can only be used once per turn. So it seems like with a legendary card, you're going to be using your evolve deck a whole bunch. Like you're just going to run through it as fast as you can. Every evolve follower that you're able to use it as much as you can. You play this guy for 1, he's going to get a huge ability. And then if X is 3 or more, you get Assail. And then if it's 7 or more, since we only have a 10, maximum of evolve cards in our deck, you get to restand this ability like Albert. I don't know if you ever pay attention to whenever they make posts on Instagram or Facebook, whichever posts that they have that are like cool card combos, but they have Kagemitsu. Since he's a 1-cost, you can use Outrunning the Encroaching Heat to give him Storm. He gets that +X/+X, so he'll have the 7 to restand. So if he becomes an 8/8, he becomes an 8/8 with Storm, and then you can swing and then swing for a total of 16 damage in total. Alrighty, and we have Leaven Scholar, so it's a 3-cost 3/3. When he comes into play, you search for a Leaven follower from your deck and put it to your hand. So I know he can search for himself, but I think there's only 2 other cards, like there's like the Leaven Vanguard Wolf guy that you can search for, and Albert. If there's any more targets, I will look for into the future, but I think the only real card you want to get is either from this set, that might be a Leaven follower, or it might be Albert. Alrighty, and we have Pedalwink Paladin. So she's a 6 cost 5/5, and when she comes into play, fanfare, you choose a follower from the enemy field, destroy it, and then draw a card. So yet again, some more sword cards that are just removing a card off of a field and just, not just being a spell too, so that's good. And you also get to draw a card, so you get to remove a card off of your opponent's field, and then you get to draw a card to replace her. Alrighty, and then we have Quick Draw Maven, so she's a 3 cost 3/3, you can evolve her for 1. And then looking at the Quick Draw Maven evolve, so she turns into a 4/4, but on evolve you discard a card from your hand, and then you choose a follower from the enemy field and deal 5 damage to it. So we'll kind of say that this is a weird card with a nice ability. Yes, we are going to be getting rid of a card out of our hand to be dealing 5 damage, but there are some pesky cards that are on the field that have 5 defense that we really want to get rid of. And spending a total of 4 play points, since Swordcraft doesn't have too many options, but they are gaining a lot of options to damage followers, I think this is something to look into. Alrighty, and we have our premier legendary Ramia Sonic Racer. So she's a 2 cost 3/2. You can evolve her for 3, but you reduce the evolve cost by 1 for every other follower on your field, and she has Rush. Alrighty, so there's a 2-card combo that I can already think of that makes this evolve free. So we have Floral Fencer evolve, so that makes the 2 Knight cards onto the field. Your opponent's really going to focus on getting rid of the Floral Fencer since she swings for 4. So they leave the Knights alone, well that is if they don't get rid of everything off your field. But we both have both the Knights on the field, so that reduces it by 2. And then we have Amelia Silver Paladin, which we can play this card since it's 3 or less. When we play Amelia, we have the 3 cards now and we're able to evolve it for free. Alrighty, and then we have the Ramia Evolve, so she turns into a 4/3, she has Storm, and when she evolves you can spend 3 play points, and this card gets +X+X. X is equal to the number of other followers on your field. So with the on evolve ability, you're only going to be getting a maximum of 4 extra damage, which is not that bad since you will be swinging for 8 on the very same turn it's played since it has Storm. But with the card combo that I'm thinking of, you're going to be swinging for 7. You get a lot of cards on the field, your opponent does have to answer to a lot, but you will be using this effectively. The one downside I will say is that you're using a lot of your hand size for the combo, but that sounds like the true Swordcraft way since you don't really draw that many cards. Alrighty, and then we have Samurai Outlaw, so he's a 2 cost 3/2, and you can evolve him for 4. And looking at the Samurai Outlaw evolve, so he becomes a 6/5, so this can definitely be used in interesting scenarios. I wish you were able to evolve him for a little cheaper, or there was a way to make an evolve cost a little less. But if you're able to give this follower Storm at any point in time, or if he's left on the field, which sometimes a 2 cost follower probably isn't going to stick, this is a lot of damage to be looking out for. And then we also have Leonidas' Resolve. And then we have Steadfast Samurai, so it's a 1 cost 1/1, and this card is unable to take combat damage. You can activate for 2 play points, and this card gets +1/+1 and Rush. A very interesting card to think about. So it's a 1 cost 1/1 that will be gaining Rush if we spend the 2 play points, which we should have by the time we see this card if this is not a card we have in our opening hand. But if we're trading into a follower, we're going to be just doing the X amount of damage to it and not getting it received back. So we can then use the math, whatever we use in our brains, to calculate how much damage you need for other cards to get rid of said card. And there's another scenario where you might be able to swing for 5 damage if you can give this card Storm. I feel like Encroaching the Heat is probably going to be a nice one-of card, or you might be using Armor of the Stars so you can keep buffing this up completely throughout the game. It can't be interacted with unless you're going against a certain deck that just wipes the board. You swing for X amount of damage and then there you go. Alrighty, and then we have Twin Sword Master, so he's a 2 cost 1/3, and he has a strike ability to restand this card. This ability can only be used once per turn. So a little baby Albert card or a little baby Kagemitsu card, with the ability of having a 7 or more, but it's just a cute little card that swings for 1, and then if you're able to get that 1 damage through, you can swing 1 again. Alrighty, and lastly, we have the Ramia Evolve, so it's a beautiful card. She looks really cybernetic, so I wish there was a cybernetic deck for her to put in, but it looks like it's just X amount of followers, you get +X+X, and so on and so forth. But alrighty guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have some great luck in pulling any of these cards. In the next video, we'll definitely be doing neutrals. But for tomorrow, we're definitely going to be doing a market watch video, so look out for that, because I want to see what the card prices have been doing over the past 2 weeks. Alrighty guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you're safe in whatever you do tonight, and safe whatever you do for the rest of the year. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Yeah. TRINN just to get you away. What I got to do, what I got to do, just to get you away. to do, what I got to do, just to get you away. You pull me too close, now